Why do some people seem to move through life with focus, confidence, and momentum, while others, just as talented, stay stuck in cycles of distraction and frustration? The answer is not luck, intelligence, or motivation. It's the small things, the invisible things, the daily habits that shape identity before they ever shape results. In this video, you're going to learn 7 specific daily habits that, when practiced consistently, make you mentally sharper, emotionally grounded, and practically unstoppable. These aren't random productivity hacks. They're principles. Each one is rooted in the timeless wisdom of Covey, habits that build self-respect, reinforce clarity, and create real transformation over time. Because the truth is, the people you admire for their discipline or impact aren't doing extraordinary things. They're doing simple things with extraordinary consistency. Let's begin. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You rise to the level of your discipline. And the reason most people don't feel powerful in their own lives isn't because they lack potential. It's because their habits are working against the future they say they want. They wake up with no direction. They start their day reacting. They move from task to task with urgency but no strategy. They try to manage time instead of managing focus. And by the end of the day, they feel drained, unfocused, scattered. Not because they didn't work hard, but because they worked from the outside in. They answered everyone, replied to everything, responded to every noise, but forgot to lead themselves first. Covey often said, private victories precede public victories. But most people are chasing results they haven't built the structure to sustain. They want clarity, but they've never created the habit of pausing to define it. They want confidence, but they've never earned it through daily commitments. They want to feel unstoppable, but they've trained themselves to stop at the first sign of discomfort, distraction, or disapproval. And the deeper problem? They don't even realize it's happening because it all feels normal. They believe they're just busy. They think it's just a season. But really, what they've normalized is fragmentation. Fragmented thoughts, fragmented time, fragmented intentions, all disguised as productivity, when in reality, it's noise. So let's redefine what it means to be unstoppable. It's not about being hyperactive. It's not about being always on. It's not about having endless motivation. It's about being grounded, disciplined, aligned, so that no matter what the day throws at you, you already know how you're going to respond because you've trained for it. Your principles have become patterns. Your patterns have become habits. And your habits now shape your identity. When that happens, you stop needing motivation to move. You don't wait to feel inspired. You trust your system. You don't chase approval. You act from conviction. You don't guess. You choose. Because habits aren't just what you do. They're how you vote for the person you're becoming. That's what this video is about. Not theory, not inspiration, not quick wins, but daily practices that shape your focus, protect your energy, and build self-leadership from the inside out. And before we dive in, remember, you don't have to change everything. You don't have to become perfect. You just have to decide, from this point forward, I choose alignment over noise. If you're ready to stop reacting and start building habits that make you unshakable, subscribe now, and let's walk through these 7 principles together. Your next level doesn't need more noise. It needs structure. Let me tell you something that Covey taught the world, something simple, yet life-altering. You are not your results. You are your habits. Your life doesn't change when you get a promotion, start a new relationship, or hit rock bottom. Your life changes when your daily behavior starts aligning with timeless principles that govern effectiveness, purpose, and integrity. Most people are not failing because they lack dreams. They're failing because their days are chaotic. They want results, but they live by reaction. They talk about goals, but their actions are driven by emotion, distraction, and urgency. Their lives are ruled by notifications, obligations, and the exhausting attempt to keep up. And here's the truth Covey would want you to understand. If you don't take control of your habits will take control of you. Success doesn't begin with a miracle. It begins with a system rooted in clarity, in vision, in intention. That's what habits really are, not trends, not hacks, but the foundation of a character-centered life. And the people who seem unstoppable aren't born that way. They built their lives on the quiet discipline of daily decisions. Stephen Covey didn't teach quick fixes. He taught transformation from the inside out. He taught that private victories must always come before public success. And he made it clear, what you do every single day matters more than what you say, what you want, or what you plan to do someday. In this video, we're going to explore 7 daily habits that aren't just motivational, they're transformational. They're the kinds of habits that build identity, that create personal leadership, and that give your time, your energy, and your mind a clear direction. These habits are not random. They're intentional. And when practiced consistently, they shift the way you show up to your own life. You'll learn how to start your day with purpose instead of pressure. You'll learn how to guard your time like your future depends on it, because it does. You'll discover the power of reflection, planning, self-renewal, gratitude, and movement, not as isolated tips, but as part of a personal operating system. This isn't about motivation that fades after 5 minutes. This is about discipline that reshapes your trajectory over time. These 7 habits are based on universal principles that Covey described as lighthouses. They don't move. They don't shift with trends. They guide you when you're lost and correct you when you drift. And when your habits are aligned with these principles, something incredible happens. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. But here's the warning. These habits are simple. And because they're simple, they're easy to ignore. It's easy to skip a plan. Easy to scroll instead of read. Easy to postpone a goal review or go to bed without thinking about the day. And that's exactly why so many people stay stuck, because they underestimate the cost of inaction. If you're tired of feeling like you're not reaching your potential, if you're frustrated with how often you start strong and fall off, if you know, deep down, that you're capable of more but can't seem to stay consistent, then this video is your wake-up call. These 7 habits are not about achieving perfection. They're about building a foundation, about reclaiming your time, renewing your energy, and living from a place of choice, not chance. So here's what I ask. Don't just listen. Apply. Take notes. Pause if you need to. Reflect. Because if you take these habits seriously and embed them into your daily rhythm, you will not recognize your life 6 months from now. Not because the world around you changed, but because you did. Now let's begin. Stephen Covey had a powerful belief. You don't just have a life, you design it, one decision at a time. And that design is built from the inside out. You don't start by changing the world. You start by changing your response to it. And that begins with habits. Covey's entire philosophy was rooted in this one idea. Sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. What you repeat daily becomes who you are. That's not poetic, it's practical. It's the core of what he called private victory. Let's break this down. Covey distinguished between the personality ethic and the character ethic. Personality focuses on image, quick fixes, charisma, techniques to appear effective. But character is deeper. It's built on principles like integrity, discipline, and responsibility. Covey warned, if you chase results without first developing character, you may achieve some success, but it won't last. It won't transform you. And when adversity hits, you'll fall back to the level of your habits. So let's talk about the first habit. Begin with the end in mind. You don't build an effective day by reacting to the urgent. You build it by anchoring yourself in your vision. When you know who you want to become, your habits stop being random. Planning your day before it begins, just like we discussed, comes from this mindset. You're not asking, what should I do today? You're asking, what does my future require from me today? From there, Covey emphasized put first things first, a habit of prioritization. This is where most people struggle. They confuse activity with productivity. They spend their energy on what feels important now, not on what actually moves the needle. Covey taught the time management matrix. Quadrant 2 is where your life changes. It's not urgent, but it's deeply important: planning, learning, building relationships, reflecting. When you build a life inside the quadrant, your days become intentional, not reactive. That's what reviewing your goals daily actually means. You're keeping the first things first. Covey also talked about the emotional bank account, his way of explaining trust, relationships, and the discipline of gratitude. Every day, your attitude is either depositing trust and joy into your life or withdrawing it. When you practice gratitude intentionally, you're filling that account. You're feeding your mind with appreciation instead of anxiety. Most people don't realize that gratitude isn't just polite, it's strategic. It protects your mindset. It resets your perspective, and it fuels resilience. Another core principle Covey taught was sharpen the saw, renewing yourself in the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual dimensions. This is where daily movement, reflection, and feeding your mind come in. You don't push harder and harder until you burn out. You pause. You reset. You make room for renewal. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. An unstoppable person doesn't just go fast, they go far. And that requires rhythm, rest, and reflection. Now let's bring in something deeper. Covey insisted that true leadership is self-leadership. Before you can influence others, you must govern yourself. And self-governance isn't about force, it's about discipline. Speaking with purpose instead of impulse. Eliminating excuses instead of justifying them. Ending the day with reflection instead of numbing it with distractions. These habits don't just improve performance, they restore dignity. They remind you that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a creator of your life. And finally, Covey taught that your identity drives your behavior. If you see yourself as someone who is scattered, inconsistent, or stuck in the past, your habits will reflect that. But when you begin to identify as someone disciplined, focused, and clear, your actions follow suit. That's why speaking with intention matters. That's why preparing your mind before the world speaks into it changes everything. When your words, your thoughts, and your plans align, you stop fighting against yourself. So here's the challenge Covey would give you. Don't just try to change your habits. Change the why behind them. Let them come from vision, from values, from the kind of life you want to build. Then build it one day at a time. That's not theory. That's what creates results that last. Now take a moment. Which of these habits are you already living? Which ones have you been avoiding? And more importantly, who are you becoming because of the habits you've chosen? Pause, reflect, and if you feel this message hitting something deeper, it's time to make that internal shift. Let me know in the comments which of these habits you're going to start practicing today. If you're serious about becoming unstoppable, you can't just understand the habits. You have to embody them. Covey didn't just teach ideas, he taught systems, processes, repetition with purpose. So let's break each habit down into something you can start doing today, not someday. Habit 1. Begin with the end in mind. Start your day with clarity. Before you check your phone, before the noise of the world grabs you, take 10 minutes to sit down and write out the 3 most important things you want to accomplish today. Not 30, just 3. And make sure those 3 are aligned with your long-term goals. Don't just ask, what's urgent? Ask, what's essential to the life I want to build? That single shift, from reacting to creating, will change how you experience your entire day. Habit 2. Put first things first. Use the time management matrix. Draw 4 boxes. Label them: important and urgent, important and not urgent, not important and urgent, and not important and not urgent. Now take a hard look at where your time goes. Your mission? Spend more time in the important and not urgent box. That's where true growth lives. Schedule blocks of time for planning, thinking, reading, and connecting with people who matter. Make space for what fuels your future. Habit 3. Sharpen the saw. You don't need 2 hours at the gym. You need 20 minutes of intentional movement. Take a walk while listening to an audiobook. Do a short stretch or yoga routine in the morning. Move your body to move your mind. Renewal is not a luxury, it's a discipline. Your body fuels your mind, and your energy dictates your impact. Habit 4. Feed your mind daily. Pick a book, just one, that aligns with a skill or value you want to grow. Read 10 pages every day. Listen to one podcast on leadership, discipline, or personal effectiveness while commuting or doing chores. Fill your environment with content that pulls you forward. Starve your mind of noise. Feed it wisdom. Habit 5. Practice daily reflection. Every night, before bed, take 5 minutes and write down the answers to 3 questions. What did I do well today? What could I have done better? What will I improve tomorrow? This is how you calibrate. This is how you grow. Reflection isn't indulgence, it's leadership. Habit 6. Speak with intention. Set a rule for yourself. You don't speak negatively about your life, even in a joke. Language shapes reality. Begin your morning with one positive affirmation about who you're becoming. Speak it out loud. Choose your words like a leader would, deliberately, purposefully. If you catch yourself slipping into gossip or complaint, stop and redirect. Train your tongue like you train your body. Habit 7. Review your goals daily. Post them somewhere you can't ignore, in your journal, on your mirror, as your phone background. Read them each morning. Say them out loud. Close your eyes and visualize one of them coming to life. This daily ritual reconnects you with your purpose. It makes your goals emotionally real, not just intellectually important. Remember, these habits are not tasks to check off. They're systems to live by. You won't master them all today, but if you commit to practicing them one by one, you'll feel the shift. Days become clearer, stress decreases, energy rises, and most of all, your life starts to align with the person you've always known you could be. Start today. Pick one habit. Practice it with focus. Don't wait for perfection. Build momentum. Because daily disciplines, repeated over time, are what separate those who wish from those who lead. Most people want change, but few are willing to confront the truth that precedes it. Covey taught that the key to transformation is self-awareness, the honest, consistent evaluation of your habits, your motives, and your integrity. It's not about shame. It's about clarity. Because when you finally see the gap between who you are and who you want to be, you can start building the bridge. Start with your mornings. Are you in control of them, or are they controlling you? Do you wake with intention, or do you drift through the first hour scrolling, rushing, reacting? Your morning isn't just a routine. It's a reflection of your priorities. And every day you allow disorder, you reinforce disconnection from your deeper purpose. Examine your language. What do you say to yourself when you fail, when you're tired, when things don't go your way? Are your words rooted in blame or in ownership? Covey reminds us that between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies our power to choose. If your words are excuses, you've surrendered that power. But if they're honest, constructive, and responsible, you've reclaimed it. Take a look at how you use your time. Not just your schedule, but your attention. Are you constantly busy but rarely effective? Do you spend more time consuming than creating? Do you allow others to hijack your focus? Or do you protect it like your future depends on it, because it does? Ask yourself, what am I pretending not to know? This one question can shake you awake. Maybe you already know the habit that's stealing your energy, the relationship that's draining your peace, the excuse that's holding you back. But acknowledging it requires courage, the kind that most avoid. Covey taught that private victories precede public ones, meaning the quiet decision to wake up early, to write the plan, to stay consistent when no one's watching. Those moments form the bedrock of your character. If your life feels out of control, don't chase external hacks. Go inward. Audit your discipline. Audit your alignment. Audit your values. One of the most powerful tools you can use is the daily self-check. Am I living today in alignment with what matters most? Not what's easiest, not what's loudest, but what's most essential. And if the answer is no, don't punish yourself. Redirect. Change one behavior. Say no to one distraction. Reaffirm one commitment. This is not about being perfect. Covey never preached perfection. He preached integrity. Integrity is not flawlessness. It's consistency, alignment, living from the inside out. And the moment you start telling yourself the truth, your growth accelerates. So take this moment. Don't rush past it. Reflect on where you are. And remember, self-awareness is the beginning of all change. Without it, habits are empty motions. With it, they become your path to purpose. Like Covey said, we are not human beings on a spiritual journey. We are spiritual beings on a human journey. And that journey requires reflection, responsibility, and relentless honesty. Let today be the day you stop lying to yourself and start building the version of you that's been waiting to emerge. You are not what you do. You are what you repeatedly choose to become. That's the heart of identity. And in Covey's teachings, identity is never an accident. It's the result of principles lived consistently over time. If you want to be unstoppable, you need more than motivation. You need a vision of who you are becoming. These 7 habits are not just productivity hacks. They are identity-shaping disciplines. Every time you plan your day, you reinforce that you are someone who lives with intention. Every time you feed your mind with wisdom, you affirm that you are someone who grows, who questions, who improves. Every time you reflect at night, you're not just reviewing actions, you're refining the architect behind those actions, yourself. Let's get clear. The person who starts their day with purpose is not just organized, they're a leader. The one who feeds their mind daily isn't just informed, they're wise. The one who moves their body with intention isn't just healthy, they're energetic, resilient, and ready for life's demands. Transformation doesn't begin with goals. It begins with identity. Who are you choosing to become? Covey always said, private victories precede public ones. Meaning, the shift happens quietly. No applause, no trophies. Just you, your habits, and the silent decision to live differently. When you review your goals every morning, you're not chasing ambition. You're becoming someone who takes ownership of their destiny. When you practice gratitude, even when life is hard, you're becoming someone who sees abundance in the midst of challenge. When you speak with intention, you're becoming someone whose words align with their values. And when you reflect every night, you're becoming someone who lives from the inside out, not the outside in. The habits you keep are the evidence of the future you've chosen. And that future doesn't appear one day. It is built daily, brick by brick, through the smallest acts of alignment. Covey believed that lasting change comes from a deep shift in self-perception. You no longer see yourself as someone who tries to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You're not someone who hopes to be focused. You are focused. That's the shift. That's the transformation. When others look at you, they may admire your routines. They may compliment your mindset. But what they're really seeing is the byproduct of a new identity, one shaped by intention, reinforced by habit, and grounded in principle. So here's the truth. You don't become unstoppable by chasing success. You become unstoppable by embodying the values that create it. Your identity is not what the world says you are. It's what you decide over and over again when no one is watching. Let this be the day you stop managing behavior and start developing character. You already have what it takes. The question is, will you live like it? Because once you believe you are the kind of person who lives these habits, not perfectly, but consistently, you'll start showing up with more confidence, clarity, and strength than ever before. That's not just transformation. That's ownership. And it's the beginning of the most powerful version of you. Let's go build it. You want to know who you really are? Look at what you do when no one's watching. Look at how you talk to yourself in the silence. That's your foundation, not your talent, not your image, not your results. It's your habits. They shape how you see the world, how you show up, and who you become. Stephen Covey said, "We see the world not as it is, but as we are. And who we are is the result of what we do, consistently." So if you want a better life, don't chase a breakthrough, build a pattern. Because the small disciplines you practice in private will echo loudly in the public results of your life. Think about it. You've already lived the consequences of drifting. You've seen what happens when days run you instead of you running them. The missed goals, the constant fatigue, the quiet frustration of knowing you're capable of more. That version of you, the one that hesitates, that doubts, that delays, it's not your identity. It's just a reflection of untrained habits. But you've been training differently now. You've been practicing the shift, planning your days, feeding your mind, moving your body, speaking with purpose, reviewing your goals, living with gratitude, reflecting with honesty. And little by little, those habits aren't just what you do. They're becoming who you are. You're not a dreamer anymore. You're a builder. You're not controlled by chaos anymore. You create order. You don't wait for energy. You generate it. You don't beg for clarity. You build it. You don't follow the crowd. You lead yourself. This is identity in motion, and it's unstoppable. So the next time you hear that voice telling you you're not ready, that it's too late, that you're too far behind, don't argue. Just act. Prove it wrong with your habits. Out-discipline your doubt. Out-train your excuses. Because your future isn't built on what you feel. It's built on what you repeat. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. And remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about direction. And if you found value in this message, subscribe now, because this is just the beginning of your new foundation. And if you're serious about building that life, your next step is waiting in the next video. Watch it now. You're ready.